All right, so we'll go ahead and get started here, and I'd like to introduce Sara Evans. She's the Education Sales and Marketing Manager at Lincoln Electric. She's been there for a little more than 16 years, and she's worked in a lot of different facets of the company that they have with finance and customer logistics, automation, and education. And she's currently the Education Sales and Marketing Manager at Lincoln, and I reached out to her to see if she could help some of us out here with this new learning experience that we've taken on this spring, trying to teach some of our students how welding and different aspects of ag mechanics in the spring. And Sara, I'll let you introduce the rest of your team as well.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having us. So we have Adam Webb. He is our program manager. He has an extensive background in welding. He's CWI, CWE. So he's going to chat a little bit. His responsibilities cover many things that we're chatting about. And then we also have Andrea Tracy. So Andrea Tracy has a considerable background in education from the services and administrative side. And we were lucky to gain her wealth of knowledge maybe close to 2 years ago at Lincoln Electric. So she covers the development of our curriculum content. She makes sure that we are in compliance, that all of our programs have approval at the state and national level, and she gets into a lot of policies. So I thought both of them would be excellent experts to help discuss teaching welding at a distance. And I'll start off by just making sure that everybody understands kind of what we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about how are we, Lincoln Electric, teaching at a distance? So at a distance means a couple different things. It could be 6 feet, right? The social distance policy that we have in Ohio. It could be while the student is at home or somewhere else, maybe in another classroom. So I just want to keep that in mind, that it means very different things. We're going to talk about blended learning, and then we're going to talk about resources that are available at your fingertips for you to utilize. I would like to start off by just making sure that everyone is aware that everything we're talking about comes from our experience in Cleveland, Ohio. So we were very, very fortunate to start up our school again, May 18th. So we have some experience in good things and bad things. All of that experience and protocols are around what is set for Cleveland, Ohio. So I know that you're in Pennsylvania. I know there are similar protocols in Pennsylvania, but we do suggest that you contact your local health and safety groups to find out what your protocols are, what the requirements are, what the regulations are. So these are just stories, I guess you could say, of what our story has been, and also information of what customers have provided to us as far as what they have gone through. So with that, I just wanted to first let you know that there's a lot of information available on the web. So I'm going to share the website that I'm circling in this PowerPoint. Okay, so at education.lincolnelectric.com, in the top right here is our response to COVID-19. When you click on that, this is the page you will get to. And if you have specific questions, you can certainly make comments or questions in here. But where I want to show you the assets that might be useful to you is down here. So everything, a lot of things that we're going to go over are here already, and we're just continuing to add to it. Here's one really cool feature that might help you. We have signage all ready for you. So Adam's going to talk about how he got the facility ready. And this is something that sometimes folks don't think about, that how much it would take just to get the signage in the facility. So we've made this signage available for you to download and utilize at your discretion. And we tried to, not make sure it had Lincoln Electric all over it so that you could use it wherever you needed to. So we know that signage is hard to come by right now. So you have it at your fingertips right here with a download that you can send off to the printer. Even even enter here signs, which Adam will kind of talk about, you know, in different ways we use these signs. Some other things, just so that you're aware, there's podcasts, webinars on here. There's some additional insights in here. So when I click on this, you're going to see some blogs. You're going to see some podcasts. Our activities that we will talk about, our free online activities, are going to be on this page also, I think this afternoon. So you'll have access to those too. So I just want you to keep in mind that that site is education.lincolnelectric.com. And again, it's right up here, our response to COVID. So let me go back to the PowerPoint. All right, so I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that. We hope to add this webinar also to that site. We're going to be adding a lot of things to this site as we learn more and as our customers give us more feedback too. So with that, I'm going to throw the ball over to Adam Webb so he can talk about, you know, how did we start navigating our path forward? Adam?
Yeah, and for you guys that are ready to start up here and get going, it's a really big process. One of the first things that kind of caught me off guard was the time it takes to actually get a facility up and going again. I had 12 instructors, 40 hours a week. It took us a week just to get all of our signs made, put up. We went through everything of, we had 2 water fountains that are side by side, so we had to shut a water fountain down. It's just little things you don't think of. And as you start getting your facilities ready, you just find things. Our stairwells, for instance, I had to have upstairs and downstairs cases only. So that was an interesting thing that we found, that it's just signs. I had one guy that all he did was make signs, laminated signs, and hung signs up on the wall. So that was one of the big things we worked on with Sara, was to make up signs so other schools wouldn't have to go through that process. Because as a welding instructor, typically art graphics is not our forte, so to speak. So Sara got with the marketing team and made us up some better signage to put up. So hopefully that will help you guys out a lot. One of the first things we did, though, was we actually got up and I went to ohio.gov. It was our website for our state, and they had a lot of really good information on there. Our local environmental health and safety group here at Lincoln Electric was a huge asset to me, because our company has not shut down the entire time. We've been working. For you guys up in PA, I got on yesterday to the website, and your all's website is pa.gov. So I don't know if you guys have been there looking at any of the material that they have for you guys up there, but there's actually a lot of good material on there for you guys with your protocols, and they have different awareness levels for you guys, like a yellow level and a green level for preparedness. So that would probably be a pretty good source of information for you all, is pa.gov. So the facility was one big thing, right? The instructors were a whole nother scenario altogether, because I had to get them used to the social distancing. And we've done things since 1917. You know, we've been up close, personal with welding education, and it just changed overnight on us. So it really took us a little bit to get our instructors ready for this, because our instructors have to lead by example when the students come in. So I took all the instructors through. We did walkthroughs with everything. We talked about different scenarios with the students, because we didn't know how the students were going to react, right? That was our big thing, is are these guys going to come in here and really fight the face coverings and stuff like that? But we called, 60 students that were coming in that week, and everybody was all excited to come back, and everybody was ready. And we have not had one issue to date with anybody following any of our social distancing guidelines. Everybody's just real excited to be back and to be doing something. So get your instructors prepared. It's good to sit down and talk about things and go through different scenarios and have plans for how you're going to handle them with the students. Cleaning supplies. Wow, that caught me really off guard. I didn't realize how much hand sanitizer was until everybody in the country is looking for it, right? And you have to put hand sanitizer, and every classroom's got hand sanitizer. We got, you know, the cleaning wipes everywhere. And it's not just to get enough to get going, it's to get enough to sustain you through the whole time period you're going to be open, right? So definitely have a good stockpile of that whenever you come back. And we go through a lot of the cleaning wipes, like the Clorox type cleaning wipes. You just don't realize how much you touch things and how often you got to clean things. And so that's a big thing. The students, whenever they're coming back, one of my biggest suggestions to you is reach out to them early so you can really communicate with them what their expectations are going to be when they come in the building, right? You really want to make them aware of that the building is going to look a little different, right? So they don't walk in and see everything's all moved, there's signs everywhere, they don't know where to go. We sent out stuff to our students, letting them know what doors to come in, where the entrance doors were, where the exit doors were. We talked to them about face coverings. We talked to them, we had to close our cafeteria down. So we tried to prepare them for that as well. So it's really preparing your students and setting really good, clear expectations when they come back, right? Plus there's a big change in how we run our classrooms and our welding labs. Before my classrooms, I could put 20 students in a classroom. I got knocked down to 11 students per classroom, right? With trying to keep the 6-foot social distancing, it really restricted the number of students I could put in there. The scheduling was a big thing for me. I had to adjust my scheduling of classes, when we take lunches and when we take breaks, and it's trying to move the herd around, so to speak, so they're not getting in each other's way, and try to keep everybody in their own little spots. So really, we have ways that we enter our classrooms. I make the back tables leave first, so that's the way people aren't walking by other people unnecessarily. So try to align some of that stuff out ahead of time. So next slide, Sarah. PPE is going to be a big thing too to think about. I know some schools, they'll share welding helmets and stuff like that. Well, now those things would have to be wiped down at the end of each time, and it's just so much time to clean things up and to make sure people actually clean them well enough. So we actually require that all of our students have their complete own PPE packages. Sarah's going to be talking to you guys a little bit later about some of the PPE packages that we actually offer on our educational portal. So that's one thing to think about, is students sharing hand tools, even like welpers, chipping hammers, wire brushes. Those are touch points that you can knock down on. So anytime you can eliminate a touch point is a big thing for you, because it's going to save you time in cleaning, and it's going to save you the cost of the cleaning. So next slide. Another tool that we found interesting is our new PAPR system that we got out. So with our social distancing, it's kind of tough teaching welding, especially when you have to do it 6 feet away. Right now, I can only have 2 students in a weld demo booth at a time. So one of the things that we recently got approved was actually being able to use our PAPR system, so we can actually break that 6-foot boundary with the students, so we can actually get up and the students can come up closer to us. So the PAPR system that you see on the screen there, it's actually got a little filter pack on the side of it that pumps fresh air in through the welding hood, and it blows fresh air in the face, and it's filtered air. And the HEPA filter in that will actually is good enough for the COVID virus. So just another tool to look at if you're trying to get closer to your students. So welding demonstrations. This is another one. We were planning on the 6-foot, but it really takes a lot of time to give your weld demos now, okay? So there is a bit of a time constraint in that. So we do our weld demos now at a 6-foot distance. We only have 2 people in the demo area. And our demo area is no longer the students' weld booth. We have instructor stations set up in the middle of our welding area. So we make the students come to us, in that open area to get their welding demonstrations. So we're not trying to do it in a smaller welding booth. A way that we found to try to speed up the welding demonstration process is welding videos. So we're doing more videos in the classroom with the instructor standing in the class trying to talk to the students, so he can talk to all 11 students at once. So there are some welding videos that Sara will talk about a little bit later for you there that's available also. But that's a good tool to use. Another thing that we did is we took pictures of some of the weld samples, and we started using those in the classroom. And that really worked out well. So with the weld samples that you see on the screen here, it's a really effective, cheap tool that the instructor can go out, take some pictures with a cell phone, and then he puts them up on the screen, brings all the students in, and they have an open discussion about what's good or bad about the weld. And we found that to be a pretty good, cheap, effective tool to re-engage the students in as well. So just an idea.
And this is something we're going to continue utilizing even after COVID is all gone. Yeah?
Yeah, and honestly, you know, if there was anything good that came out of all this, it's that welding educators are using more technology now. Okay, so if I'm trying to find the bright point, my instructors out there now are using a lot of higher technology tools now than they would have in the past. So that brings us to checkpoint. If you have a power wave unit, like a C300 machine or something like that, you can actually utilize what's called a power wave checkpoint system. So there's an Ethernet port on the back of the machine, and it will actually display real-time welding data for the instructor that's in the booth. So in the picture there, you see an instructor. We have a television screen that we mounted in the welding lab. So while the student's welding in his booth, this software that's connected to the machine will gather data while the student is welding. It will tell that instructor everything from how many amps he's welding, volts while he's welding. He gets a lot of really good data that's coming from the system. So even if the instructor can't be in the booth physically with the student now, we can get data that can help us educate the student if his amperage is wrong, or if his voltage is too high, so he's maybe pulling too long of an arc length. If he's not even welding the correct welding parameters. So it gives the instructor another set of eyes in the booth when he can't be there. So that was a really effective tool. Another effective tool, again, is the Vertex. We do a lot of welding demos. We have a Vertex 360 that's actually in every classroom that we have here at our weld school. So the instructors are doing more welding demos using the Vertex. Before, you know, they were kind of hesitant sometimes maybe about using it, but they're really finding the value in this now. Again, another blessing in disguise from all of this. They're really embracing it because they can actually, you know, show the students body positioning while they're in the classroom. So Sara, I'll turn this over to you now. I think you can talk a little bit more on the Vertex units and what's going on with that.
Sure. So I also included a picture of the Vertex Engage because what we have noticed is we have a lot of school districts that are using the Vertex Engage to transfer to different students. So a student might have it for a week at their home, and then it goes to another student to be able to utilize, or they might have a couple and then put them on a rotation. So we have seen that. Also, we have seen a lot of folks use the Vertex without the headset. So you can use it with or without the headset. In our weld school, you'll see sanitizer wipes to be able to wipe down the Vertex in every single classroom. You'll actually see them doing the pre-welding activities with the Vertex, and also when they're struggling, you'll see them utilizing it, you know, in the middle of their live welding session. So one of the things I'd like to mention is that we're working actually at this moment. We have a team that is streaming our Vertex live to trainers all over the US at this very second at the Weld School in Cleveland. I'm going to show you a video just real quick of what that kind of looks like. and it's going to be a video of the end of a weld so you can see the bend test. So let's pull that up. So this is a multi-pass weld. They're doing flux core on the vertex, cleaning the weld in a second. And now the scoring will occur. So if you haven't seen the vertex before, it'll score on 5 parameters. The student received an 82 for that last pass. That was good enough to be able to get them into the bend test. So they're going to do the sample A, and they're able to virtually bend it. And I'm just looking at Adam's face, and he's just enthralled every time he sees this. Virtually bend that and identify if the bend test, if the student passed or failed. And when they fail, it does identify, you know, why they failed. And the cool part is you can do the root and the face of the same sample. And I can't remember if this video fails in the end. It does boo at you if you do fail. That one passed too. So I just wanted to give you an example of, you know, some of the things that we're doing in our weld school, and at a distance, a 6-foot distance, but then also at a distance with folks at their house, at their school, in a different classroom. So the Vertex is able to stream. We can use it on platforms like Zoom. I don't have a Vertex with me, and what's currently is being used for another training. Otherwise, we would have it in here. And you can also record it and be able to have it on your YouTube channel. So we're going to be coming out with some video and some instruction on how to do that. So if you have a Vertex, you'll see on our COVID page some information launched about that. You'll also see information launched about how to use Vertex to teach from a distance body position. So that requires some extra cameras being set up around the Vertex and the welder, and you can stream that too. So you're going to see some information on that. So we're pretty excited related to that also. Adam mentioned the portal, and I just want to make sure that everyone is aware of our Lincoln Electric education portal. There's a lot of free stuff out there, and over this time that schools have been out, a lot of folks have used this information. So for instance, there's these free technical guides. You can download them and be able to use them as a file or send it to your students. You can have them copies mailed to you also, and then send them to your students. So these are things that I know our students in the Weld School, we give to them, and we tell them, keep this through your entire career, because it'll be great reference material. And my suggestion to you is make sure that you are on the portal. You can get these for free, as many as you need. So if you need 30 of them, we'll send you 30 of them. If you want to download them and use them, you can do that too. So please utilize this free material, because I think it's very helpful. Something else that Adam's team is using in their classroom is our teaching aid toolbox. So the instructor is up front. Each drawer in that toolbox has items related to whatever process they might be teaching. So this is a real picture. I was at the school. This picture was taken. I think they were teaching MIG welding. He has a MIG gun in his hand. And what they do is they were able to have hands-on instruction, but still fall in line with the protocols that are required in Ohio. So the toolbox has a stick drawer, it has a MIG drawer, a TIG drawer. It also has some welding samples and some cutaways. So there's some Harris gauges that are cut out, so you can actually see and talk about and teach how the gas flows through those gauges, and a torch too. It's all cut out. So this is one of the other things that's actually available on the portal too, that every single one of our classrooms has in it, and it's actually turned out to be a huge helper in this time. Posters. So a lot of folks know that we have the free posters. They are free to every instructor on the portal. You can also download those and use them with your students. So am I suggesting not buying, but getting 30 packets mailed to you of each poster? If the student wants welding posters all over their room, why not? But my suggestion is probably more to download them and give them as helpers to the students. So those are available for free also. And from there, I am going to throw the ball over to Andrea just real quick. She has really helped us through this period with our curriculum development and through compliance policies. And we thought that she has a couple of really key points that possibly may help you, especially as you might start doing instructor training online if you haven't already in this time. Andrea?
Thank you. So when we came back, started on this May 18th, and our state had actually given us the ability to offer hybridized classes until May 31st. Well, that didn't give us a lot of time to turn some things around. And so we really did have to revisit our development process, because we are not only approved by the state of Ohio, we also have accreditation through ISET to offer CEUs. So we never really offered hybridized classes before. We had to make sure we were in compliance. We had to make sure that we met all of the standards through ISET, but also then were approved with our classes to offer them through distance learning. So right now with the state of Ohio, we turned around and had them approve that we can offer the lecture component of all of our classes through distance learning. But something else we wanted to do is not miss an opportunity to collect data. My team is always interested in making sure that our curriculum is the best it can be, to make sure that we're doing what's best for the student and offering a really great learning experience for the students. So we also worked with Adam and his group to identify some data points that we wanted to collect, knowing that this is probably going to be a little more of a long-term study, but looking into, learning styles. We can all assume we know the different learning styles that are going to be able to learn better on distance learning or any of the webinars that we offer, and maybe we know, maybe we don't know. So we're always looking to go through and improve our classes, but we did have some theories. We tested them out. We actually ran some webinars with our union partners, and we also ran some with our customized training partners. So we came up with some tips and tricks for what is called virtual instructor-led training, or VILT. And that would be any type of webinar that you would offer. So it was anywhere from the design of, only putting 5 to 6 bullet points on a PowerPoint, to really pointing out things that you'd think would be common sense but might not be, but muting your phone when you're doing a presentation, or making sure that somebody's monitoring the chat feature. So we wanted to share that with all of our customers, but we also wanted to integrate that into our curriculum and what we're offering to our students. So we're hoping in the future that we have a lot more information about the classes that we hybridize and offer, so we can share that with everybody in a future presentation. Go ahead, Sarah. We also have online content that's offered through Tooling U, and then we'll talk about NC3 in just a second. But our online content is called ULink. We partner with Tooling U SME, who is an LMS provider. And basically it's like having a textbook, but it's online. And so we know a lot of our schools have utilized this. If they have Zoom, or if they utilize WebEx or go to Google Classroom, they can actually pull up our PDFs that we offer on ULink and do their presentations. They can assign things out. So we have student references that are basically chapters in a book. So they would assign it to the students to read as homework. We have on ULink also some assessments that are online, so they're able to assign those out. Yes, there are lab activities, and yes, it makes it very difficult to do if you're at home, but at least there are some lab activities there that they can talk about and talk through with the student. And we also have Vertex instructions around those lab activities. So if you're able to stream your Vertex, you can actually do those lab activities live with your students and show them, you know, the processes you're using and what they can look for when they're doing that lab activity, hopefully themselves in person. Sarah, go ahead and move to NC3. We have a LEAPS program through NC3, and it utilizes our ULink curriculum, but they are select modules. And basically this program, it leads to a certification. So we have right now 8 ULink certifications. Right now there are process certifications, so stick, TIG, MIG, flux core, and then we have a safety certification. We have intro and advanced with all of our processes. And what's nice about this is, yes, the curriculum's online, so you can assign it to students. They can go and look. There are e-learnings attached to the NC3 platform. There are only 5 right now, but when you look at our Tooling U system and with LEAPS, we have over 34, so you can actually assign out e-learning to those students, and they can go through it. It's self-directed. But then they can also take on our NC3 website their certification exam online. We utilize this in our Weld School with our 16-week comprehensive program, and it's worked out very well. And once we move to the next stage, which is hybridizing our classes, we're going to be able to use this along with some laptops or possibly tablets. And we found that a lot of our schools that use either the LEAP system or Tooling U have done exactly that. They will use our PowerPoints in their presentations or their webinars built, if you will. And then hopefully our next step will be to show them how to utilize our Vertex so they can stream that if for some reason this whole COVID mess goes on longer than we hope or want it to. Oh, Sarah, you're muted.
Okay, I just want to answer one of the chats that came through about PPE and sanitizing PPE. So basically they were asking advice on sanitizing shared helmets, gloves, etc. So what I would say to that is that I have been in touch with our engineering team for the gear side of things. They are working on a couple projects. They want to make sure that anything they recommend doesn't harm the FR material or the seams and so on and so forth. So they are working on recommendations. I do know that there are recommendations inside each of the instruction manuals for each of the gear pieces. As soon as we have an overall document, what we will do is post it on that COVID page. So that COVID page is kind of like a live page. And so we will definitely be posting information on there.
Sarah,
yes.
while you're answering questions, we actually have 2 more questions. The first one is there a class for ULink? And then the second one is the LEAPS program offered on the portal?
A class for ULink. So, oh, a cost. Okay, gotcha. So what we would do is we'd get you in touch with Tooling U SME and let them provide you with what that cost looks like. So at the end of this, you're going to see contact email educationalsales@lincolnelectric.com. That email you can use for any questions that you have for related to quoting or additional information. We will definitely make sure that you get feedback on that. And the other question, Andrea?
Is the LEAPS program offered through the portal?
The LEAPS program is not offered through the portal. That's actually working with our partners at the National Coalition of Certification Centers, NC3. So we would get you in touch with them to make sure that that's the fit for you. So again, that would be shoot me an email through educationalsales@lincolnelectric.com, and we can get that relationship started so you can find out more information on it. So one other thing that I wanted to show you as far as free online activities, and this kind of goes with curriculum for sure. If you go to the COVID page, this will actually be out there later today. I'm going to share it with you so that we can actually see my excellent weld symbol. Let's see, come on, there we go. My excellent weld symbol creations. So I'm going to back this up beyond the quiz. We must have gotten too far in there. So there is a quiz that has 30 questions, all related to weld symbols, and there's a draw it yourself. So draw it yourself. You ready for this, Adam? Draw it yourself. So you can use lines and make it all straight. I'm just using my computer. Whew, that's not so bad, right?
Sure.
And creating it right here. Obviously, I'm also looking at the answer. So you can do a check your answer. So you can look at it like this and say, what was that, 3/16? Okay, my 3 is terrible. And then I can check my answer to see how it went, right? So I can also clear my answer and try again. So there are 10 of these. So it's just kind of a very cool online activity to learn more about welding symbols and how to draw, how to read welding symbols. So here's another one. This is what this one should look like. The students should be here. There is also the quiz that I had shown earlier that has 30 questions. So when you click on the right answer, you get green and you can continue. It ultimately comes out with a certificate saying you did this quiz. It's not tied to an LMS or anything like that, but we're looking to do more of these. I would be extremely interested to hear what your feedback is on, well, what would be the next one? What would really help you out in the classroom or outside of the classroom from a distance to help teach things? So we thought welding symbols might be a great thing. We are working on a certification in blueprint reading, so we thought this would be good. And so again, this is going to go on the COVID page. But if you want to get directly to it, education.lincolnelectric.com/activities. Okay, so let's go back to the PowerPoint. And we'll be, when we release this and launch this, which it's launched and ready to go, I think it's going to be released this week, you'll get an email. If you're part of the portal already, you'll get an email on all the new free stuff out there. So again, I can't express to you how great the portal is to get free stuff and helpful resources. Another resource that we would be happy to send you is a free instructor pack. So if you haven't already received an instructor pack from us, please email me and ask me for an instructor pack. So what's in that instructor pack, you might ask? So there are several books, like our welding handbook, that's like a $200 book that you're getting for free. There's new lessons in welding. There's a lot of stuff that can help you really make sure that you have as much of our resources as you possibly can. So that ships free to you. It comes in 2 boxes. There's a lot of stuff in there. So if there are any potential student teachers that you might be working with also in the ag area, I know we worked with several of them in December that came to see us at ACTE. We sent them free instructor packs too. And I know I got some emails in the spring of how great and helpful those were, especially in the current climate that we're going through. The other thing I just want to mention is jflf.org. That is our foundation. And our foundation does have awards that your students and you can win gear and machines, things like that off of. So please go to jflf.org and look at the Win It section. You can also look at some other areas in there. They have some great resources in there from other welding books to also the kits. So they have, if you've ever seen our metal kits that students can weld to, they make animals, or I think there's an airplane too. I should have brought my girls did a cow, and it's in the other room. I should have had it with me, but those kits are available at jflf.org too. Almost to the end, I just wanted to mention that online there is a virtual tour. So if you're thinking about how are we going to do field trips, how are we going to get word out on, you know, how to do a tour if you might not be able to take students places. We do have a 3D virtual tour of our Weld School. So this is an outside view. Here's an inside view of the Weld School portion of our technology center. Some of the other things we're working on to put on the COVID page to help you are videos in careers in manufacturing and welding. I'm going to share just the beginning of one with you.
If you get bored in welding, you're doing something wrong. My name's Travis Edmonds. I work in the applications department. I'm a welding technologist. I specialize in engine drives, stick electrode, kind of cross-country pipeline applications. When I first started here, I just needed a job, a good paying job, benefits. But now that I've been here 17 years, it's more than just that. I found a career. My older brother, he went off to college. My parents were looking at me like, okay, what's the big step here? What are you going to do? And I knew I could have gone to college, but for me, and even looking back, it would have been a waste of time for me. Another job opportunity came up to be in weld services, and I interviewed for that. And they said, you know, you're going to be welding all day, every day. And I said, okay, I'm in. I want to do that. And that was one of the best positions I had here. It was welding test plates for weld services.
So I'm going to pause it there and jump back. And he goes on to talk about his career at Lincoln Electric from a welding perspective and different careers in welding. And we have a couple of those videos that we have done recently, and I know that we have done some in the past. So we're going to try to combine those for you all to use from a field trip perspective. Let's go. There we go. So hopefully it'll be useful to you. Hopefully virtual field trips will be short-lived and you can get out and about and actually see firsthand real soon. Two last slides just to mention is that there are programs for you for your own professional development at Lincoln Electric. So any of our weld school courses are offered at an educational price to you. Here's some example of some of them. I just want to make sure that you are aware of this. And if you have any questions on it, please feel free to email me, and I'll give you my email in just a second. And then last, certainly and not least, is there is going to be a lot of funding opportunities. There already are, right, with the CARES Act and some of those things. I wanted to make sure that you are aware that we will be announcing those things when funding opportunities come from the federal government and maybe some of the state stuff. It's very hard to keep up with 50 states, but we will announce those things. So we'll announce it to our portal users. It'll be on the COVID page. So make sure, again, like I can't tell you enough that how important it is to make sure that you have an account on the portal. It's free, no charge, and a ton of resources on there. Again, my email is right here, educationalsales@lincolnelectric.com. I see that directly. We do have grant writing guides also, so if you ever get in a position where maybe your school grant writer or maybe a resource is asking you for information, we can definitely help you out with that. And with that, I would just like to say thank you again and just ask if there's any other questions.
Sarah, we did have one that was sort of tacked on to Jesse's previous question. What was the cost for the certification portion that was part of the leap?
We'd have to get you with NC3 on that. So that doesn't, the cost portion doesn't really run through us. So what we would want to do is make sure that you chat with NC3, make sure that those certifications are the right route for you, and then we go from there. So again, if you just shoot me an email, we can get you tied in with those folks. I really hope that this was helpful for you and you saw some good resources that you can utilize. And again, we're here for you. So if you have any questions whatsoever on ways to do things or brainstorming, we'd be happy to hear. If you have ideas, I've asked other customers too, what ideas do you have that might help other schools? And we'd be happy to promote those types of things. So please don't hesitate to contact us. All right. Well, thank you, everyone.
Anyone else that has any questions? I was hoping that we'd get a few more questions for you here. One thing I was kind of going, I guess, on what Tom was saying, we do have very limited supplies even here where I teach, but we have 5 welders and I might have 15 kids in a class. Now we might have to adjust that, of course, this year, but sanitizing and cleaning and doing all that stuff is going to be, I think, the biggest challenge for a lot of us.
Mm-hmm. And again, I would have you go to look at that COVID page. We did not go over everything that is on there. So there's almost like a checklist. There's a white paper, there's blogs, and we continue to add to that as we go. So I would definitely check that out to see if it would at all help you. I know we did a podcast with Adam, and he got more into detail on the different things that he had to really think about, and various, just all kinds of stuff that when you walk into a building, you don't think about until you see it.
Yeah, if you listen to that blog that we have posted on there, we do go into more detail about it. But honestly, it's really about eliminating touch points. The more touch points you can eliminate throughout your facility, it's a huge time and cost savings. So really, as many touch points as you can eliminate. We were leaving more doors propped open, things like that. And we eliminated all the tables and chairs out of our cafeteria. And we had the students just eat in their classroom because that eliminated a lot of touch points for us right there. So if you listen to that blog, we do go into more detail. And we're going to be doing some more of those later on too. So keep checking back to the page.
All right. Well,
putting that stuff on that page, I think the COVID page will be very, very helpful for a lot of us to go and find information about, because we were discussing some things yesterday, even like, well, how do you disinfect gloves? Well, you really can't, I guess, disinfect gloves. So that's some of the things that we were talking about yesterday, and the findings that you guys will have on different things. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much again for letting us share, what our story has been, and we're happy to share it and continue to share it on that page.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.